Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the Jade Gemini. Tonight I'm actually super excited to go ahead and talk about this little knife right here and give you guys a sort of thoughts, review of this little guy. This is the Pena X Series Micro Apache. Before we get into that though, actually I'm going to go ahead and do a size comparison. So this is it against a very popular knife that anybody and everybody is going to probably have in their hand or know of, and this is the Para 3. So you can see, not big. Para 3 is considered kind of a smaller full-size knife, a very full-size knife. The benchmark obtained is, in this case, the Ritter Hogue. So as you can see, not big. And just to really kind of send home the size of this guy, I'm actually going to go and compare it to a 58mm Victorinox, so sort of like what you would find classic SD, keychain Victorinox. And final thing, which I think really is helpful as well, is a standard AAA battery. So we're not dealing with anything really too big here. It's micro, right? So, all that out of the way, we're going to talk about what I like, what I love, what I dislike, and if it applies, what is rubbish about our Pena Micro Apache. Oof. So first thing that I actually love about this, like about this knife is, the materials being used. We've been really blessed over the last couple of years to make it where people are getting bored of one of the best steels that you can put into a knife, and that is M390. I like it pretty good. It's literally in my name, right? Which is kind of silly because I don't think it's my favorite steel, but still a great one. So that's just a great thing. You have a great steel, which I think is really going to kind of work on this knife. It's small. This is not a worker, right? This is a knife more so to, cut things open, do general EDC tasks. Maybe the most extreme thing you're going to do is maybe cut a zip tie, or, maybe cut open one of those plastic clamshell. Nothing super extreme, right? So great for that. Next thing, you got beautiful titanium. And I mean, I don't think anybody can doubt that I don't like micarta here. So yeah, micarta. So that's the first thing that I like. There is just a lot of great materials, and they're done very premium, very nice feeling micarta, very nice finish. Just all around a great knife, because of that. Next thing that I like is I like this jumping that is on the back, this being smaller. It's kind of a 3-finger if you have bigger hands, or for me, this kind of acts almost like what happens with a lot of like Vox designs, where this sort of rolled back here is used as like a finger choil area. So this is actually kind of like a 4-finger, but also 3-finger. Doesn't matter though. This locks in with this swoop so ergonomically well as the normal Apache. It works the exact same way, and this jimping just helps all the same, being one of the best jimpings ever. This just sort of straight cut, fine jimping, just locks in. Your finger is not moving, just gives you robustness and confidence. Another thing that I like is when this is closed, very small. When you open it, this area actually extends the area that you are grabbing onto. That's making it even easier to control and have more surface area to grab onto. So that is another thing that I love, and just a great design feature, right? Another thing that I love about this knife is the pocket clip. Simple and classy. Has a nice fuller, this nice little spear tip. Works well to get into the pocket, has great retention. It's done right. It doesn't look like it's bent here. It's completely straight. I've seen some that are like bent up from other companies that when they get a little thin and go in and out of the pocket. Not the case here. So you're not really going to have to worry about that being a problem. Next thing that I like about this knife is hardware, actually. Not something I talk about enough, but it is important, right? I do like to maintenance my knives. I don't just, dunk them in oil and go on my way. I like to sort of experiment, see the insides, take it apart, put it back together, those sort of things. So you got T8 everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Here, underneath here, maybe it's T6, so I'm gonna stop myself, but at least externally, T8, 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 even there, T8, you're not gonna have to take that off. T8's here. I actually just adjust this because it wasn't perfect in the middle of the screw, and my sort of obsessiveness just can't. So there's that. So yeah, really great. You can make adjustments, take apart all of that cool stuff very, very easily. The next thing that I like is this. It still has all the niceties that you would come to go ahead and expect with a modern day knife. So it actually has a steel lock bar insert and an over travel stop. Great things to go ahead and have to basically have a knife that'll last forever. If this wears out, you can replace it without having to replace the blade, right? So that's a really cool thing. Also, lockup is great as well. So that is a super awesome thing too. So I'd say that that's all little things that I like about the knife. I actually just realized there is a little burr in there. It's gone, not a big deal. So that's all the things that I like about this. I like, of course, the materials, micarta, nice titanium M390. I like the design of the pocket clip. Again, overall, I like the way that this fits in the hand. Pretty nice. The way that this extends here. It has T8 hardware all over the place, and a lot of the necessities, essentials that you would go ahead and expect, like an over stop travel, which it doesn't even need because this is kind of that, but that's cool, as well as a lock bar insert. So those are all things that are I like about this knife. Next is what I love. First thing is, you've been hearing it the whole time, I know you have, is that action. And more so the harmonics, right? That is a part that sometimes gets lost in knives that have good actions. This, it's okay, thud. You know what I mean? This, I've come to like it, but it's, a little muted thud. This is very, very aggressive, loud, high-pitched. It's great in that way. The next thing is the action itself, having a detent that is easy to use with the flipper that is the front flipper on here, and even easier, just as easy, is this. I would just kind of call it a. The only word I can think of is reach around. I'm so sorry, guys. But the sort of, hangover, that doesn't sound right either. Word choice. Whatever you call this, pull up, it's actually easy because it's, your finger is just right there. So it's reliable 100% of the time. It's not like my joint wasn't in the right angle. It just works. So it really offers some fun fidgetability. Even if you want to use it from the front here, or you want to go ahead and do more of the lighter style, use it up here, it's going to work. It's going to fire every time. Great action, smoothness. Again, a little small, but even then, you can shake it free. It's not a heavy blade or anything like that, but it's going to work just fine. So those are all great things, is just this fidgetability with the action. Next thing, sorry, let's move on. I can do that all day, is actually the tolerances, fit and finish of Reate in general is just phenomenal. You can see I'm trying to move the blade and it's not moving, but it has that action. Okay. There are knives that are on bearings, have no play when they're open, but then when you go to close them and you move them, this is pretty solid. There's others though where it wanders so much. Like you're almost like, if I finger flick that, is that gonna touch the side of the frame? It's that loose. This is one of the most solid knives. And it's a small little thing. It's not a hardcore beater, right? But it's just so dialed in and perfect that even when it's closed, there is no blade play. It doesn't need to have a lock to actually have the sturdiness. and that just shows the fit and finish. Also, you know, every edge is crisp. This lines up. It feels almost like one material here. You know, nothing grabs. Same thing here. Nothing grabs. Everything is completely smooth transition along here. You know, again, it's just, the grinds look great and crisp throughout the knife. It's just, you know, what you come to expect here. These are just about 100% symmetrical here, you know, better than just about anyone else. There's this satining that goes all the way around, all the way down, unanimous. Just little niceties that really, you know, once you had a Reate, you get it. You know, you understand. So that just still, you know, fits right into place here. Of course, the next thing that I love is the design, right? Pena does it just about as good as anyone else. You know, making these traditionals of different, you know, classic patterns, you know, like the Barlow, and, you know, like the Trapper and the dogleg, as well as swayback, so many other ones that just, you know, again, our grandpas used, and were, you know, back around even days when they were herding cattle in the Wild West. You know, I mean, literally, like that these patterns have been around sometimes, some of them that long, and to take them and modernize them and micronize them right into this modern day bolster frame lock, just sick. Great easy piece, as well as a gentleman carry. Just sick. That's, yeah, it's awesome. So that's one thing else that I love about the knife. The other thing is, again, sort of, maybe I didn't touch on it enough, it's just the ergonomics, both in the Apache, this Micro Apache too. You just lock in, because the way that it swells, kind of like a buck, you know, does, it actually has this area that you just, when you pull forward, it just doesn't allow it to go. It's such a simple shape, just swoosh and swoosh, right? Unlike something like this that has like very still comfortable, amazing ergonomics, right? But you know, this big choil, even more so focused ergonomics. You know, something like this, you know, again, not the case here. It's just some straight lines, but still, it is so amazingly comfortable. It's one of the most comfortable knives to hold in the hand, the Apache, and this as well as right along with the Micro. You know, just being able to go ahead and use it, love it, and love it, right? I mean, it's just awesome in that way. So those are all the things that I love. I love the fit and finish, as you go ahead and expect, you know, with Reate. I love the sturdiness of this knife. I love, oh God, that was smooth, holy crap. Yeah, so you can see that, the tiny blade doesn't weigh anything. It's just really getting smooth here. And, you know, so I just got distracted at how awesome that was. And of course the pattern, you know, the whole entire design behind Pena, this modernized, traditional, just done to the best and highest caliber that I think of any, you know, designers out there. Just absolutely amazing. Also love this blade shape. You know, this is my favorite knife of all time, except maybe the Troodon, but you know, I'd say they're equal. I had that, and I regret that. And then this was the other one, right, with the regular, and this Micro is right there too. So it's this sort of sheep's footish, you know, where it just barely picks up, you know, just amazing for EDC, you know, and still hyper sharp, you know, one of the sharpest knives out of the, you know, box. Honestly, just at the edge, done so well. So those are all the things I love about it. Things I don't like about this knife, it is hard to say if there's anything. I do know on other Penas I've experienced in the past, the problem is that they can kind of come loose at the pivot. Not the case here, as you can see, very tight. So I hope that's just maybe a fluke that I had, where I would Loctite it, I would wait like 2 days. I'm like, okay, I've waited long enough, and then I'd go back at it, and it would, you know, come loose, right? But it would usually come loose very quick after just a very short bout of fidgeting. So again, hopefully that was a fluke, but just something to note. The next thing is, well, I mean, that's not really a big deal. Just, you saw there was a little tiny dude there. That can happen to anybody, though. Not a huge deal, right? One thing that is a little bit of a bigger deal, though, is the fact that, with this knife itself, I believe this is screwed directly into the titanium underneath here. Which, again, is it a big deal? No. But it is something that you just have to kind of be extra wary of. If there was maybe like a Chicago screw or something that was holding that. And again, I might be wrong. I haven't taken this apart, and I haven't really seen a disassembly. But I believe this is just right into this backspacer here. So it's just one of those very minor things to be aware of, right? Not a humongous deal. One other thing that I dislike is, out of the box, this had a little bit of grittiness to it. When I remember getting it out of the box. And even now, it might just be because of the satin, and hopefully that'll wear in over time. Have put some Gunny Glide in it. Smells nice, and is getting pretty smooth. So hopefully that'll just, end up going ahead and continuing to break in, as knives just constantly seem to be breaking in and getting better over time. Hopefully that won't be a problem, in a couple months or anything like that. But just something to be aware of. That doesn't happen on every knife. But again, it doesn't seem to be affecting the enjoyment or, action itself. It is just something tangible, that you can feel. And that might be annoying to some. No blade play as well. Like I said, with that solidness, that's a thing that I do love. Even when you remove the lock body pressure, absolutely, none whatsoever. So that is another thing. The only other thing I dislike, I would probably say, is the, and again, not necessarily what this knife is used for, hardcore or anything, but the tolerances between the bearings and the blade are pretty, big. When you look at some other knives that, they have hardly any space at all in between them. Again, not a big deal, because I'm not super fretting. I'm really just trying to pick out the most, find little things you might think of, right? Not a huge deal to me even really, but just something to notice, just as maybe with general user, if you were going ahead and using this and getting a little dirtier, environment, or whatever. There is nothing to at all that's even rubbish about this guy. So just gonna go ahead and wrap things up and just say phenomenal, absolutely amazing. Just hits so many great points, right? It's really hard to fault a lot of Reate products, but especially when they're, sometimes they can come a little bit soulless, right? And this is something that is just the opposite of that. It is just flourishing with a lot of personality, and that perfection even adds to the love of the product, right? Not, takes away from it. Just absolutely, absolutely incredible. The last thing I forgot, because I just got so wrapped up into that action that oh my God, I love about this knife is the options that you actually have. So if you head over to Crane's Cutlery, they actually have exclusives, and I'm sure there will be more exclusives on different websites, but there's usually a lot of options, and over there they have really cool things like fat carbon, options. You got the micarta here. There's probably going to be some wood that comes out. There might be a full titanium jigged version that comes out, kind of like has other Penas. You got the marbled carbon fiber that is, available for this guy. And I'm sure there will be more to come, maybe even some special Damasteel versions and some versions with some Damascus, which I would love a Damascus clip and backspacer for this, but I don't think they ever sell them separately. So that is the last thing that I love about this knife, to end it on an awesome note. Absolutely incredible. Definitely a worthwhile knife to go ahead and get if it is something that is on your list. It's definitely worth taking that journey and going ahead and picking one up when you can. Camera's been acting really strange tonight, but anyways, like I was saying, If you did like this video, please go ahead and give it a big old thumbs up, as that super helps the channel, as well as subscribing, and go ahead and hit that little bell button so you can see whenever I do post new content. Of course, I appreciate you taking time to watch this video, as we actually have a great community of other fellow knife and EDC content creators, and you've clicked to watch my video, so I super duper appreciate that. Of course, I hope everybody enjoyed the video and has a great weekend coming up. Stay safe, take care, peace.